Hi everyone, Katarina from Bloom and Passion here. Thank you so much for watching my video today. I just made this gorgeous, absolutely stunning card and I'm going to show you how I made this. This is an easel card, but it has a shadow box frame front. Okay, now I'm just going to bring it up real close so you can pick up hopefully on all that glitter and sparkle that's going on in the background as well. So gorgeous. I decorated the butterflies and everything else. Now I made all the embellishments from scratch and I'm going to show you how I made those, but I'm going to put those in a separate video. So I will be able to always refer back to it. At first I was thinking I might put it onto the end of this video, but no, I decided I will make a separate one, so then I will always be able to refer back to it, because these are embellishments that I use time and time again on my cards. Okay, so the overall measurements of the cards are 5 by 7 inches, and today I'm going to make exactly the same card, only with different color combinations. I made this one the blue tealish with the rose gold. I just love that combination. I've been using it for a good while now in my crafts. Even a couple of years ago for Christmas I used that as our colors. I just absolutely love that color combination. Gold with blue or rose gold with blue. I think there's just something really nice and unusual about it, I guess. The card itself isn't really hard to make at all. There's a lot of room for a sentiment. Either on the back there's a 2.5 by 7 inches placed twice, or you can put your message onto the bottom of the card. There's a whole 5 by 7 inches of room. Okay, so for the sentiment for this card I went with love, and I just cut this out of it's just a small wee sentiment die that I had in my stash. Because I think it's fitting for any occasion at all, and I really don't know who is going to get this card just yet. So this is what we'll be making today. For the embellishments I will be uploading the video again soon. Hopefully this week. I'm adding some more things to it before I edit it down completely, but it will be done soon, in the next week or so anyway. Now, so to make this card we will need 2 pieces of cardstock for the base. One of them will measure 10 by 7 inches, and I'm going to score this. I'll grab my scoreboard. I'm going to score this down in the middle at 5 inches on the 10 inch side, and also at 7.5. So that's the only 2 score lines we need for this one, and I'm going to fold and burnish both exactly the same direction. Okay, and this is what's going to give the base of our easel card. For the second bit, for the shadow box frame, we will need a cardstock that measures 11.5 by 9.5, and I'm going to score on all 4 sides exactly the same. Score them at 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 1 3/4, and 2 1/4, and just do this on all 4 sides. Once all 4 sides are done, just turn your cardstock with your long side sitting up, the 11.5 inch side, and at 3 inches score down to the second score line we just made. Okay, so at 3 inches down to that 1 inch mark. Turn it to the other side and again at 3 inches. So now what I did is I scored on both sides at 3 inches. And I turn this to the opposite side, again on the long side, and do exactly the same thing at 3 inches and at 3 inches. It doesn't matter which side of the cardstock you're scoring this in, because these will be cut lines anyway. Okay, so once this is done, just fold and burnish all the long score lines you made. Don't worry about the 1 inch marks that we just made, just all the longer ones. Now we're going to have to cut away some bits from this. Oh, I know this bit can get quite confusing sometimes. If you never made shadow box cards before, or even if you did, it can get confusing. Okay. So I remember when I first made shadow box cards years and years ago, I messed up so many papers with it by the time I grasped it. So what I did here, I prepared a piece of cardstock, scored exactly the same way, only alongside the score lines I drew with a pencil. This way, I think it is just easier for me to show what I'm doing, and it's perhaps easier for you to see as well. Okay, so I'm going to show you two different ways of cutting this. So if you can't grasp the first bit that I'm doing here, don't worry, stay with me, because I will show you a slightly different way of getting the same result. So what I'm going to do, where we drew this little score line down to that second score line alongside there, I'm going to cut down alongside it. Okay, but just down to that second score line, do not cut into that section at all. So now you can see we've created this tab. Now what we are going to do, from this corner we are going to come down to this corner. We are going to cut alongside it. I'll draw a little line so you can see where I'm cutting to. Okay, so just straight down into that next corner in there, just like so. Now from here we are going to cut down alongside that straight line, 1/2 inch of a line in here, turn it the other way and cut this whole corner away. Just like that. This is the shape we are going for. I'm going to show you this one more time and then a different way on the other two sides, or in the other two corners even. So cut down to this line. From here at an angle, cut down to the next corner, straight down to the last score line, and cut this whole corner away. Like so. This could have seemed a bit complicated, I get that. So what you could do, first of all, what you cut away is this whole big corner in here, the 16 little rectangles and squares in this big corner here. So you're cutting away the 2.5 by 2.5 square in that corner. From here, all you need to do, cut down alongside that short score line, down to the next, down to the second score line, and from here you just cut down at an angle to go to the next score line, like that. See, exactly the same result, only slightly a different way. Again, you can cut away this whole big corner. Now cut alongside the score line, down to the second line and out to the next corner. And this is all to it. It takes a little bit of a practice, but once you grasp it, it can be done quite easily and quite quickly. This is all to it. Now, first of all, we are going to decorate the back of the card. And to that, I'm going to use a color cardstock and then my die cut cardstock. But I will talk to you about it when I come to it, okay? Now, for the color cardstock, it's white now, but I'm going to ink these. Okay, so this measures 4.5 by 6.5. Anything that will be hiding underneath there, it can be anything up to 5 by 7, as long as it hides between the folded insides of the frame. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to use two different inks. One of them is the Kitsch Flamingo and the other one is the Picked Raspberry. And I'm just going to add quite a heavy layer of these, just mix and match. Okay, so this is it, and now I'm going to spritz just a little bit of water on it, not much at all, just to activate that ink, and it's just going to add a little bit of an added texture to it. And I'm just going to set this aside to dry. Now once it's activated, I think I'm just going to blast it with my heat tool a bit. Okay, so once nice and dry, I can glue this into the background of that card there. And I'm just using collal glue in here, all-purpose glue. I think this is nice and strong once dries. And now I have created this die cut frame to go in the backgrounds. Now this is from two separate die cuts. You see there's the back one that is wider, and then the thinner lattice frame is glued on top of it. Now this is a die cut frame that, or a background die even, that I designed, and it's an SVG file. I have used this before on cards, and I will link to it below. It was, I think, like a gorgeous white on white big fold card, which would be absolutely perfect and fitting for Christmas. I know a lot of you like white on white cards for Christmas, so it would be worth checking that out. Now, but you really don't need to use this. Honestly, any background die that you may have that would fit on here would work absolutely perfectly. Or even stamp, you can stamp images on this, or use an ink resist technique, or anything that you like. I don't have any background dies. Well, I do have one and I can't find it, but I wanted to use this one anyway. I really love how these look. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to glue this on top of that. Now, first when I was making the other one, I was worried that this might be too thick, and because there's a heat embossing powder on this, I used clear gloss wow embossing powder to give that beautiful, beautiful shine to it, and sparkle, obviously. So I was worried that because of that, this might not stick to it very well, but it sits so well, it's not going anywhere, honestly. I use acrylic glue, and it is the Cosmic Shimmer glue, and it sticks so well, it really holds it perfectly. So first of all, I'm going to add just a wee tin of Okay, so now we're going to start gluing the sides of the shadow box down, and I'm going to start with the side that has the straight edge, where we didn't cut away all these corners. I just find it easier assemble it this way. Okay, so just to this last half an inch of a tab, I'm not going on to the next half of an inch with it. Just this last bit has the glue on it. Now, I fold two of these back, so the two half of an inch tabs are all folded back now, and I'm going to pull it over, and I just give it really good time and real good pressure. Now with the other two sides, I wanted to make sure these two are fully dry, so now I can fold them outwards, just out of my way, until I stick this down. This time I'm only folding back the last tab, just like so. Okay, and I'm going to add the glue to it, just again that little last tab, except this time I'm not folding back the two half an inch sections, just this last tab, and I'm going to glue it down just like so. Okay, and again, this will need quite a little bit of a time to dry, so just make sure you don't rush this bit, especially if you have that heat embossed die cut in the background like I do. Okay, so once it's all nice and dry and the glue is set, we can glue the little frame together. Now what I'm doing here, I pull up first the long sides of it, and then the shorter sides will kind of push underneath. Okay, and I can feel that it holds already very well, but what I like to do is I like to add a little bit of a glue just onto the corners in here. Because I will be decorating this with frames anyway. Do you see that there? Those will hold it together just as well, so it will all help it a little bit. Now, a bit of a glue used out there, but I'm not worried. As I say, the frame will be going on top of this, just like that. Now, this one is a silver glitter cardstock, and this one measures, let's see, I think it's, yeah, 4 7/8 by 6 7/8. And I measured in 5/8 of an inch on all 4 sides. So let's see if I can find a pencil here. So measured in 5/8 of an inch on all 4 sides. And then whatever was left in the middle, that rectangle, I cut that out with my craft knife using a self-healing cutting mat. So that's how I done that frame. And the smaller one, exactly the same method. This is just plain white cardstock. This one measures 4 3/4 by 6 3/4 and measured in 1/2 an inch on all 4 sides. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to add here the white frame on top of the silver cardstock, and it's going to leave me with that little thin border on the inside and on the outside as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to peel back the backing of the double-sided tape that I've already added to. I'm going to glue it on top of that frame in here. And that again will leave me that little white thin border between this frame and the frame of the card itself. Now that's lovely. I don't know, I hope you can pick up on all that little sparkle just peeking through on the sides of that white frame. I think it's gorgeous. Okay, so now I'm going to take the piece of cardstock that I cut before, the 7 by 10 inches, and we scored it in 5 and 7.5. I'm just going to give it good burnish. And on the bottom of the card, I'm going to use a piece of silver cardstock, and I'm going to cut a piece of glitter silver cardstock that measure 4 7/8 of an inch and 6 7/8 of an inch, and this will be the bottom layer of this, like so. And the white piece of cardstock that will measure 4 3/4 by 6 3/4, and this should give me this lovely thin border, just like so. Okay, and I will be gluing these on top of each other onto the bottom of the card. Now, just a quick idea, if you want, you can cut out a rectangle from this here in the middle and then use it out for die cuts or whatever else that you may use it for, because this bit will not show anyway. It will be all covered up. It doesn't show on the bottom of the card or on the top. So me as well, if you wish, you could do that. I'm not going to do it now. I'm just very quickly going to glue it down and kind of code for time, because I was away and very soon I have to pick the kids up from school. I keep my eye on the time in here too. And the next thing I like to do is to glue the frame on top of this here. Before I start decorating, I find it just a lot easier to glue it on now. So all I'm going to add glue to is this last 2.5 by 7 inch of a tab. Do not add any glue to this top bit, because once you put this down and it gets glued to it, then it wouldn't lift up for the frame if this bit is glued to the top of the card, okay? Okay, until that dries, I'm going to show you this bit, how I created this. So you can see there's that silver piece of cardstock that measures 6 3/4 by 1 1/8 of an inch, and then the white strip on top measures 1 inch by 6 3/4, exactly the same length, only a little bit narrower, and that leaves me with that lovely little border. I can show you in here. Probably you can see the darker gold color a bit better than the silver. Okay, and I added again that same exact sentiment with love. And so when I added 2 strips of the foam pad, so once I glue this to that piece of cardstock, and I'm pulling my easel up a bit. I don't want to pull too hard because it's still not fully dry, but this will catch and make it stop there, so it will be displayed just the way it should be. Okay, so I'm going to, I think I added it, yes, about 1 inch, 1 1/8 of an inch up from the bottom, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing in here. So I just pull back the backing and I add some extra liquid glue here for extra strength, and this will leave me with a little bit of a wriggle room to get it nice and straight. So I'm just using my grid lines on the mat, this other way, just a teeny tiny bit above the 1 inch mark. And the width of this is exactly the same as the width of that white cardstock in here, so I'm just lining it up against the white cardstock there, and this looks good enough. Again, a little bit of a pressure, and this should stick to it quite quickly because of the foam pad. It's quite sticky, and that's it. The base of the card is ready, like so. So for embellishing the card, I've already created my flowers and butterflies. Just look how gorgeous these are, and as I said, I will be putting up the video to show how I created all these. Okay, so for all the foliage that I'm using on this card, I used the stamp and die set from Chloe's Creative Cards, and it's this die and stamp set. I think it's gorgeous. This here may be one of my favorite ever foliages. I only recently got this, and I can tell you that it will be used a lot on my cards because I just absolutely adore it. And again, to embellish the other foliage, I used her rhinestones as well from the pink bling box. But also, if you don't have those rhinestones, you don't have to. I've also created one where I used glitter instead. I don't know if the difference shows. They are both gorgeous, and now I'm actually struggling to decide which one to use. They are both really nice, and as I said, I will be putting up a video to show you exactly how I created all of these. These are just thin strips of paper that I cut down from a simple copy paper, printer paper. So I just like to cut them into real thin strips and put them into a wee bunch and just add them, and then just glue them onto the card, just like so. Now, the only thing you may want to look out for in here is if you'll be putting this in a box and all, and your box is a certain size, you may not want these embellishments to be coming out, hanging outside of your card and all. Now, I don't mind that, quite opposite. I love my cards looking like that, and because I probably will be making gift bags to go with this anyway, so I really don't mind. That's what I like. But really don't want to be hanging anything below the bottom of this card because this will be going against the stopper in there. Okay, so On the side I don't mind, but on the bottom I don't want to come down anywhere near below the bottom of the card. I absolutely adore this. It just looks so cute. And I'm going to add my butterflies in the middle, just exactly the same way I done on the blue. For the last bit, I'm just going to add a few rhinestones just in the corner in there. And I don't know whether to go with the light pink or with the darker one. I really don't know. Or maybe mix them. Yeah, I think I'm going to mix the colors. That there looks lovely. I absolutely love that. Now, and let me just show you what it looks like from the front. I'm gonna stand up for this so to make sure that I can see what you see here. Look at that. How gorgeous is this? And there's plenty of room for a message either on the back of the card, on two. And now there's loads of room for a message either on the back of the card on either of these two sections or on the bottom. And I think these cards are just so lovely. Would make lovely decorations for any room. Whoever you may give these cards to, whoever may receive cards like this, I'd say would be happy to display them. Gorgeous. Now I can't even decide which one I like more. Honestly, I thought I preferred the blue. Now I don't know. So if you are still here watching this video, please comment below which color combination do you prefer. I absolutely love them both. I love them both. Are very glittery and sparkly and just really beautiful cards. So please comment below, and thank you for watching. And if you haven't yet subscribed to my channels, please consider subscribing. It would mean the world to me. And hit that notification bell so you will get notified anytime I upload more videos, because there's lots of beautiful stuff to come. I can promise you that. Okay, so thank you, and until the next time, bye!